A very good morning once again from the Sports Desk. South African hockey will be well represented at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. The women's and men's teams both qualifying through their respective victories at the African Hockey Road to Paris 2024 tournament. The ladies beating Nigeria by a resounding 9-0 in the final, with the gents seeing off Egypt 2-1 in their decider. Now, this will be the second successive games where both South African teams compete. To talk more about the achievement and the preparations for the games, I'm joined by South African Hockey's Interim Chief Executive Officer, Shaune Baaitjies. A very good morning to you, Shaune. Thank you so much for your time. Firstly, congratulations to South African Hockey. As an association, you guys are always dealing with so much. You're always having to go through so many troubles, over so many hurdles, just to make sure that your men and women represent their own country with such great aplomb. And they've shown it once again that they are the best men's and women's teams on the African continent. That title still remains nicely intact. Just talk to us about the success of the African Hockey Road to 2024.
Thank you so much. Thanks to the listeners for listening to us. So for SA Hockey, going to the Olympics has always been one of our goals. And I think having it on home soil was extra special. We always knew that the Egypt game would be very difficult for the men, and like many of us, of the viewers might have seen, it was difficult. But we're really pleased with the outcome. The ladies, though they made it look easy, playing in a final is never easy. You never know what's going to happen, but they rose to the occasion as well. Lots of work has happened on the ladies' side and not as much on the men's side, purely because of finance. But between now and Olympics, we've got quite a complete, well, I'm losing the words today, but quite a comprehensive plan. In November, the ladies play Germany on home soil. There's some plans early in the new year, Jan, Feb. We're waiting for responses from international teams to come home. And then both teams will possibly play in the All Africa Games. We're waiting to hear from SASCOC about those plans. We then follow, the men follow on with Men's Nations Cup in Poland. Both teams will probably try and go to Europe early before the Olympics to play a couple of test games there. And in between those official test games, there'll be training camps for both teams. And both coaches are very optimistic. We know how well the men did at Common Games last year. We also had fairly good results for the men at the last Olympics. So the idea is to just improve on those ratings or those standings.
Shaune, there's about, give or take, 9 months to go to the Olympics next year. Looking at between Tokyo 2 years ago and now, as the leader of this organization, have you been happy with the preparation, how both national teams have progressed in the lead up to this qualifying campaign that has now proven successful, and what we are expecting with the Olympics? Because, you know, you look at the past Olympics and you look at the one that's upcoming, you want to see some kind of change, however small it may be, but you want to look at both national teams and say, this at least is different to what we had, you know, in Tokyo. So as the CEO, are you happy with where both teams are from the last Olympics to where they are now?
Under the circumstances, yes. I have to do that precursor because one knows that the more international games played, the better your results. Our ladies have had more competition than the men. The men last played before this Olympics, before the Olympic qualifier. The last game they played was at the World Cup in January. And one can appreciate that with such a long hiatus, that it does make it difficult. Would we have wanted it differently? Of course. I think the one problem that we constantly face and we're constantly working at is funding. And at the end of the day, You cannot have a camp without funds. You cannot play an international game without funds. And that really hampered the men to a greater extent than the women. The ladies at least had some international action in Chile and Korea earlier this year. They've had camps, both sides have had camps, but not enough international participation, which would have been contributed to the preparation for the Olympics. So, like I said, under the circumstances, we are happy with what has been achieved.
It can only but be imagined how far we would be as a hockey-playing nation if, firstly, it was professional in this country, and secondly, there was a lot more money being pumped into it. But there is a partnership that has been attracted in the name of Bidvest, the recent SASCOC Indaba that was held yesterday, in fact. Just talk to us about corporates and their responsibility to South African sports, you know, and how you guys as organizations, but specifically SA Hockey, how and what it is you're doing to ensure that you present an attractive picture to corporates. But because we must always remember that at the end of the day, it's about the bottom line for corporate businesses, for private businesses. They are looking for what is best for their pockets as well. So if you're going to present a product in front of them that does not seem appealing, then they're not going to invest in it. So how are you making sure that you're presenting an appealing product to corporates so that when we speak, hopefully after the Paris Olympics, we're talking about, you know, a South African hockey that is now getting money pumped regularly into it?
So one way, obviously, is by us winning games, us being successful at international series, us improving on our rankings, and obviously with the goals that's been put in place right now is to improve from the last Olympics. The view of the coaches at this point in time is for them to at least reach the quarterfinals at the Olympics, and that would be a first. Now, I believe that with that type of achievement as a team, the product then becomes so much more attractive. Our men's product, having won the Men's Nations Cup, so that's the second tier competition on the world stage other than Olympics and Com Games. So they won that and they were ready to go to Pro League. Funding kept us back. We're working towards trying to address that going forward, because at the end of the day, these men will play in the next Nations Cup in Poland, and clearly the goal is for them to win it. So those type of achievements and accolades that they have within under the belt definitely makes for an excellent product. We know that women's sport in this country has received a lot of focus in the 2023 year. We've had netball, soccer, cricket, and hockey has also taken their space. So right now, our indoor women are also doing well. I mean, they played they probably played the highest position that South Africa has ever played at a World Cup on home soil. They were in the top 4. Also, an excellent achievement. So from a product perspective, both teams are very well placed for corporate South Africa to come on board. We have been knocking on some doors. There's many more doors that we need to knock on. And as a hockey, we won't stop, because at the end of the day, we believe we have a product that is definitely in a position to be partnered with. We believe that our sport in general is at that stage.
And you know what? Such conversations, Shaune, will definitely go a long way in ensuring that that product and the belief in that product is put out there to the world and to the corporates that can come on and really do what they need to do and put South African sport at a level that is absolutely incredible and that we can be proud of. Shaune, thank you so much. We'll leave it there with you. Thank you so much for joining us here on eNCA and just talking about the successes and the plans of South African hockey for both the men's national team and the women's national team, who have booked their ticket to Paris. Yes, South African hockey will be well represented, both genders, out at the Paris Olympics in 2024. But we can only but hope that corporates jump on right now to ensure that both national teams' preparations are a lot better than what they would be had there not been any money being pumped into it. That's what